Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, Starfleet Academy Season 1 has finished filming on the Star Trek stage in somewhere in Canada. We were hoping it was being postponed, that it was being put on hold, that initially it was just photos and that of the cast being there and doing run-throughs and read-throughs and stuff like that, and they hadn't begun filming yet. Then it did sound like they'd begun filming, but we were hoping that with the Skydance takeover and them reviewing everything, that they were going to stop the production so they didn't waste money on something that they were going to cancel later or want to try and cancel later. But it looks like Kurtzman got it through. They couldn't stop him. There was no one there to actually stop him because his production company stayed intact while Paramount was like gutted. And now they're sort of putting it all back together, or planning to, and proposing things, and they won't really be able to actively do anything until Skydance officially takes over. And there's still some legal issues there where people are literally challenging it legally, so it's a mess. But he just pushed it through, and apparently they greenlit both season 1 and 2 because it was the only way to justify the expense of building this set, which is apparently the biggest set that's been ever constructed in whatever hemisphere that stage is on. It's all about pretty production values and young actors trying to be hip and cool and in the moment to attract teenage fans for a new generation of Star Trek fans, instead of actually giving people Star Trek, which makes people Star Trek fans, and young people see it and kids see it, and that makes them Star Trek fans. They think what they need to do is target teens and give them a regular teen drama that just happens to be in space with the Star Trek IP. And that'll make them Star Trek fans, a new generation of Star Trek fans. Everything Kurtzman's tried to do to save Star Trek, which he believes is dead, wasn't until he got on board, but has failed. So so I'm disappointed to see that they didn't halt the production, that it did keep going. It did finish season 1, and from the looks of it, we'll get a season 1 and season 2 before Paramount's able to get out of their contract with Kurtzman. And we'll get a conclusion to Strange New Worlds, and then, because he's just trying to get things in production, so he's thinking, if I've got something in production, they won't stop me, I'll get to keep going, and they're not, word is they're not going to do that. They're going to let them finish Strange New Worlds, which was always planned for 5 years apparently, and season 1 and 2 of this show probably won't get a third season, God willing. I can't imagine it could be possibly good. It's set in the 31st century. It's in the Discovery universe, where the future Federation has been absolutely destroyed, and now they're rebuilding it. So it's basically Andromeda. Andromeda Academy basically is what this is. I'm going to start calling it that, Andromeda Academy, because that's what it is. That's what they did in the 31st century or 36th century. They destroyed Starfleet, and they had Michael Burnham come in like Jesus, Space Jesus, and just, resurrect the whole of the Federation single-handedly, because humanity didn't have the ability to do that, to survive and to deal with these problems and flourish and go on like Gene Roddenberry believed the human race would. Instead, they just sat there and got into their own little camps and became isolationists until Saint Michael Burnham flew in and saved the whole universe, and now they're back on track and they're trying to build Starfleet up to what it was before. So again, his idea of Star Trek is a bunch of diverse people aspiring to get to a place where we have this utopian future, instead of maintaining the utopian future that we had in Star Trek and just living in it and having adventures in it and traveling out into the universe from that point of view. So not a lot of news in this. Basically just they finished filming. They are supposedly going to be making it available on in 2026, and they'll be doing season 2 pretty quick, because they have to get it finished by June or I think July of next year, because that's when the contract will be gone, and Kurtzman hopefully will be gone, and unless they negotiate something new, there won't be a third season or fourth season. And like I said, I can't imagine it'll be good, so I can't see why anyone would want to do that. But basically the OC in space, but not in a recognisable Star Trek setting, an academy that's trying to, the students have all grown up in isolationism. They don't even know what it's like to be around other aliens. It's basically just like as if we went into space tomorrow and we're trying to prepare, people today for a Star Trek type future. That's what this show is. It's not Starfleet Academy. Starfleet Academy was just seeing the people we knew in their academy days, or teaching at the academy and a new crew and young people coming in. That was what Starfleet Academy was supposed to be. And had this been set in the 22nd or 23rd or 24th century or 25th century, in the original Star Trek era, or the post, or the Next Generation era, or the post sort of Voyager Nemesis era, it could have been interesting. It could have worked. But set in the 32nd century Discovery era, where the Federation's been destroyed, and it's basically just a bunch of teenagers running around trying to learn how to be Star Trek. So this is nothing to celebrate. I'm just marking it like you would any other disaster or tragedy.